strikes. Iran, as we know, backs Hezbollah. They said the deaths will, quote, not go unavenged. So here's the question. What happens now? There's been that talk of a potential ground invasion. We know the U.S. State Department has urged Americans to leave Lebanon due to the unpredictable nature of this ongoing conflict. Right now, foreign policy expert and human rights advocate Hillel Neuer is here with me right now. Thank you so much for joining us and making the time. So we know this was a huge blow by Israel after an incessant amount of airstrikes has pummeled them, hitting mostly the Iron Dome, but those few rockets that were able to hit central Israel. Was that the straw that broke the camel's back for Netanyahu?
Well, I don't think so. I think the straw that broke the camel's back is that on October 8th, a day after Hamas perpetrated a massacre, killing families, 1,200 Israelis invading Israel in the most sadistic and horrific way. One day later, Hezbollah in the north from Lebanon, completely unprovoked, began to assault Israel and didn't stop until today. In the past 11 months, the Hezbollah terrorist group, backed, as you said, by Iran, fully funded and armed by Iran, has fired 9,500 rockets, missiles, and suicide drones at Israelis, causing 70,000 people to be expelled from their homes and to be refugees within Israel. So the cause, it was and is Hezbollah's war against Israel. Israel acted with restraint the past several months, was waiting for the right moment to strike back. Strike back they did. Within the space of 11 days, you had an unprecedented pinpoint counterterrorism strike, perhaps the most extraordinary in military history, where thousands of pagers that were distributed to Hezbollah commanders suddenly blew up. Then you had the strikes against Hezbollah's leading terrorists. Finally, on Friday, the incredible elimination of the terror mastermind, Nasrallah. You have to understand, Hassan Nasrallah is not just anyone. He's kind of, the bin Laden on steroids for the jihadis across the Middle East, for the Iranians, for their backers in Syria, the Assad regime, the devotees within Lebanon. And he's also an enemy, even for people who don't like Israel. Throughout Syria, in Idlib, they were celebrating because Nasrallah helped Assad kill some 500,000 people with the most brutal methods. So Iranians, both in Iran itself and abroad, are celebrating. Syrians are celebrating. Druze are celebrating. Lebanese Christians are celebrating. Lebanese Sunnis are celebrating. And of course, Jews and Israelis are celebrating. The elimination of Nasrallah on Friday is a momentous historic act. He was considered almost like a Messiah-like figure, a key bridge between the Islamic regime in Iran and the Arab world, and he's gone. So this is a devastating, I would say, a game changer.
And do you think that will literally obliterate the morale of these Hezbollah militants who now have literally no commanders, in a sense, because of Israel's warfare?
Well, look, again, there's no way to underestimate the morale, the devastating blow to morale of the jihadis who belong to the Shiite stream by the death of Nasrallah. He was this charismatic figure for decades. He gave speeches. He in fact, was telling his paymasters how to go about fighting the war. So he told the Iranians how best to help Assad maintain his genocidal war against his own people. He advised the Iranians how to set up similar terror proxies in Iraq and in Yemen, which, by the way, just yesterday fired yet another missile at Israel. And today the Israelis finally struck back. So Nasrallah was a linchpin, and I think his elimination is a devastating blow. You can see the reactions. There was a young man, a devotee of Hezbollah, who said, life isn't worth living anymore. But make no mistake, Hezbollah still has thousands of missiles. They still have thousands of terrorists who are willing to invade Israel. So for this war to end, either Israel's going to have to do a ground operation at some point, or the international community is going to have to finally wake up. They've been silent for 11 months. The past week, we saw the French prime minister suddenly saying, the French president rather, saying woe unto Lebanon, and the UN chief Guterres saying we need de-escalation. Guess what? Lebanon has been firing 9,500 missiles, rockets, suicide drones at Israelis for 11 months. They didn't say a thing. So for war to end, Hezbollah really needs to be disarmed, moved away from the border, at least about 20 miles away north of Israel's border, so that Israel, a sovereign country, can allow its citizens to go back to a large part of northern Israel, which has been emptied because of the terrorism. That's the way this war ends.
Hillel, I'd love to talk with you some more. I'd love to talk about the focus that has been placed on these refugees or potential refugees as people flee to Syria, and also to the fact that this is very similar in terms of eliminating a terror threat in another country for Israel. But we're out of time. I hope to have you back again soon. Thank you, Hillel.
Thank you.